Welcome back, Uplifting Life Partners, to Marriage Mastery Uplifters Podcast, cultivating extraordinary connections. The podcast dedicated to helping you build a stronger, more joyful, and resilient marriage. I'm your host, Ron Simplified Myers. Let's ignite possibilities together. Well, this is our Marriage Builder Sunday episode, and as we dive into another week, I want you to take a moment and think about the last time you felt truly seen, heard, and valued in your relationship. Now, also think about a time you felt completely overwhelmed, maybe a little resentful, and like you constantly giving more than you had. Well, today we're diving into a topic that is absolutely foundational to a healthy partnership, but one that many couples struggle with: respecting each other's boundaries. We'll talk about what boundaries really are, why they're not walls that divide us, but rather the very framework that holds us together, and how to create a safe and respectful space for your individual needs. So often we build a marriage where we have this idea of two becoming one. And while there's a beautiful truth to that, it can sometimes be misconstrued to mean that our individual selves, our hobbies, our friendships, our personal space, our emotional needs, they should somehow merge completely. Well, this can lead to a sense of suffering, resentment, and a loss of self. Well, in this episode, it's about reclaiming the beauty of being two whole individuals, choosing to walk a shared path. It's about understanding that a thriving marriage, it isn't about losing yourself, but about finding a way to grow and flourish together with mutual respect for each person's unique identity. So let's start by defining what a boundary actually is. A boundary is not a demand, a punishment, or a way to control your partner. It's a personal limit you set to protect your emotional, physical, and mental well-being. It's a way of saying, this is what I need to feel safe, respected, and whole. A healthy boundary looks like a clear, calm statement of what you need and what you will do to uphold that need. It's not about what your partner should or shouldn't do. It's about taking responsibility for your own well-being. So let's look at some examples of the different types of boundaries. And in this case, I'm going to add a story to each one of these because I want clarity in this area of your relationship. It's crucial that we get this right. Emotional boundaries. This is about respecting each other's feelings and emotional space. For instance, not expecting your partner to be your sole emotional support system, or respecting their need for quiet time after a stressful day. In this particular story, let's see if this one sounds familiar, if it hit home at all. Sarah, she's always been her mother's confidant, a role she carried into her marriage with David. Whenever her mother was upset, Sarah would spend hours on the phone, absorbing her mother's sadness until she felt completely drained herself. Well, one evening, after a particularly long and emotionally exhausting call, David came home to find Sarah on the couch, staring blankly at the wall. What's wrong, honey? Mom's upset about work again. She's worried she might get passed up for a promotion. And I can't shake it. It's like I feel all her stress inside of me. David, understandably, he started offering solutions. Well, maybe she should talk to her boss or start looking for other jobs. Sarah shook her head. It's not about that. It's just, I feel so helpless. I just feel so bad for her. This conversation became a turning point. Sarah realized she was taking on her mother's feelings as her own, a habit that was impacting her energy and her marriage. She decided to set a boundary. The next time her mother called in distress, Sarah listened with compassion. But after about 15 minutes, she gently said, Mom, I hear how difficult this is for you, and I love you. I need to go now, but I want you to know I'm thinking of you. I'm here to listen, but I can't take on your feelings as my own. Now, that's a difficult conversation, but it allows Sarah to be a supportive daughter without sacrificing her own emotional well-being. She learned the difference between empathy, feeling with someone, and intertwine, feeling as someone. How about physical boundaries? This includes everything from personal space to touch. It can be as simple as needing a moment to decompress when you get home before you're ready for a hug, or having an agreement about personal privacy. In this story, as we know, David and Sarah, they have a loving and affectionate relationship. They enjoy cuddling on the couch, holding hands together on walks. However, David's a morning person. Sarah's not. So every morning he'd wake up, he's full of energy, ready to talk, and would immediately try to hug and kiss Sarah. Now she's still groggy and is trying to wake up. Sarah, who's a self-proclaimed slow starter, found this incredibly disruptive. She often felt irritable and overstimulated, which would put her in a bad mood for the rest of the morning. So one Sunday morning, after a week of this routine, Sarah sat David down with a cup of coffee. David, I love how affectionate you are, and I love you. But in the mornings, I need some space. My brain needs time to wake up before my body's ready for touch. I feel a lot of pressure when you come in for a hug right away. Now, David, he has no idea that his actions are causing her distress. He felt a little hurt at first. He thought he was just showing her love, but he listened and he understood. They created a new morning boundary. David would get up, make the coffee. He'd give Sarah at least 10 minutes of quiet time to wake up before any physical affection. This simple boundary transformed their mornings from a source of friction into a peaceful, respectful start to their day. How about time boundaries? This is about balancing time together and apart. It involves respecting each other's needs for hobbies, friendships, or simply solo time. Maybe it's a no work calls after 7 p.m. rule, or setting aside one evening a week for each person to pursue their own interests. With David and Sarah, our favorite couple here, they're a very connected couple. They spend all their free time together in their friend groups. They've actually merged completely. But after a few years, Sarah's starting to feel a little longing for something more. She missed her old book club and the easy, independent time she used to spend with her own friends. She also felt guilty about wanting to do things alone. So, yeah, Sarah's the one. She's doing it. She decided to talk to David. David, I love you. I love our time together more than anything. But I've been feeling a little lost lately. I think I need to get back to my book club on Tuesday nights. It's something that's really important to my sense of self, and it's a great way for me to connect with my friends. Now, you know David's initial reaction is a bit defensive. So you don't want to spend time with me anymore? Whoo, y'all know. You know that's the response. No, that's not it at all. It's about having my own space and my own interests. It's about me feeling whole so that I can bring my best self to our relationship. I want to tell you about the books and the conversations, but I need that time to be mine. So they agreed that every Tuesday evening, it'd be Sarah's book club night. Well, this also leads to a bigger conversation about their individual needs. David realized he missed his weekly golf game with his buddies, which he'd given up. So they decided to each dedicate one evening a week to their own separate interests. This new boundary, it didn't pull them apart. It actually made their time together more meaningful, as they had more to talk about and more that they could actually bring to the relationship. How about intellectual boundaries? This is about respecting each other's differing opinions and beliefs. You can have a disagreement without it becoming a personal attack. It's creating a space where differing views are heard and valued, not ridiculed. Now back to our perfect couple, David and Sarah. In many ways, they have different political beliefs. David's a follower of a particular news commentator and often listened to political podcasts while he worked from home. Now, Sarah, on the other hand, she preferred to get her news from a variety of sources, and she found the commentator that David's actually listened to be overly aggressive and very biased. Well, initially, it caused a lot of friction. David, he'd often bring up points from the podcast at the dinner table. He's expected a spirited debate. Sarah get defensive, feeling like her own intelligence was being questioned. The conversations would quickly escalate, leaving both of them frustrated and resentful. One evening, after particularly heated discussion, Sarah, so obviously Sarah's the logical one in here. She says, David, I love talking to you about important discussions, but I've noticed our political discussions are starting to feel more like a battle than a conversation. I feel hurt when I feel like you're trying to debate me instead of just hearing my perspective. Now, David, who genuinely enjoys a good debate, he's initially confused. I'm just trying to understand your side, he said. I know, but the way the conversation is happening, it feels aggressive to me. I need us to set a boundary here. I'm okay with us having different views, but I need us to agree that we won't bring up the more controversial topics from your podcast at the dinner table. Can we just talk about our day and leave the big political debate for a time when we could both be calmer and feel more respected? They agreed to this boundary. The new rule wasn't about avoiding conversation altogether, but about creating a safe space where differing opinions could coexist without becoming a source of conflict. They learned to listen to each other's perspectives with curiosity rather than a desire to win. This simple boundary allowed them to protect the peace in their home while still respecting each other's right to their own intellectual journey. Let's talk about financial boundaries, because this can be an incredibly sensitive area. It's about having clear agreements about spending, savings, and financial decisions, and respecting each other's comfort levels with money. So back to David and Sarah. They had a combined checking account for shared expenses, and they also had separate accounts for personal spending. Well, early in their marriage, they never really talked about their personal accounts, as they had agreed to manage those on their own. However, Sarah started noticing that David, he was making increasingly large impulsive purchases, a new gaming console, expensive clothes, and doing this without any discussion. She starts to feel anxious, resentful, worrying about their saving goals in the future. So one evening, that's right, dependable Sarah, she brought up her concerns. David, I know that you're spending a lot from your personal account lately. We don't have a shared budget for those things, but I'm starting to feel anxious about our overall financial picture. I feel like we're not on the same team. Now again, David, he's taken aback. He didn't see the issue. It's his money. I'm not touching our shared savings. I know, Sarah replied, but our finances are intertwined. What you spend affects what we can do in the future. I'm not asking for a veto on your spending, but I need us to have a transparent and respectful financial boundary. Could we agree to just talk to each other before making a big purchase, say over $200? It's not about control. It's about making sure we're both aware of where we stand and that we're a team. Well, David agreed. See, David's a smart man. He's agreeing. He keeps agreeing. This boundary creates a safe space for them to discuss their spending habits without judgment. They started having a weekly money check-in where they could talk about their goals and expenses, which ultimately strengthened their trust in their financial foundation. Real quick before finishing and moving on, I believe it's healthy for each partner to get an allowance. This way, each person has the freedom to purchase those things that they desire without this conflict we just discussed. We can get into that topic at a different time. I just wanted to plug that in here because we're actually on financial boundaries. So you probably noticed a common thread in most of these stories, and that is the partner was taken back a little bit by the initial boundary request. Folks, that's a very normal reaction, and that's just another area for a relationship to grow. Don't take it personally. If you're in a healthy relationship and you know that your partner has your back and you have theirs, realize that these moments are a chance to build even deeper trust and understanding. So why are these boundaries so essential? What happens when they're not respected? Well, when boundaries are consistently violated, it erodes the very foundation of your marriage, trust, and safety. Resentment builds. If one partner continually feels their needs are being overlooked, resentment will build like a silent pressure cooker. It's a quiet poison that slowly eats away at the connection. This is a dangerous area because you've heard it said many times where the person that felt their needs were being overlooked, they started to share those concerns with an outsider. And if the outsider is someone that has an attraction, they will start to give that person what they feel they're being deprived of at home. And we all know that opens a door that could lead to destruction. Loss of individuality. Without boundaries, one or both partners can lose their sense of self. They may stop pursuing their hobbies, seeing friends, or even having their own opinions. This leads to a loss of variety and makes the relationship feel stagnant. Keep this thought in mind. Tony Robbins teaches there are 6 human needs: certainty, uncertainty, significance, love acceptance, growth, and contribution. This falls in the area of uncertainty, variety. If a person starts to feel stagnant, too many people will blame the relationship and start to link their partner's face to this issue. What do I mean by linking their face? It's that every time you think of your partner or actually see their face, you immediately start to feel that you have lost yourself. You now have made them the cause of this concern. This means an immediate conversation must take place because feelings follow stories. You don't want this toxic emotion to linger within your relationship. How about communication breakdown? When boundaries are fuzzy or non-existent, communication becomes a minefield. One person might feel they have to walk on eggshells, while the other feels entitled to intrude. It also prevents true intimacy. This might sound counterintuitive, but true intimacy is built on a foundation of mutual respect. You can only be truly vulnerable with someone when you know they respect your limits and will honor your space. Boundaries create the safety needed for deep connection. Now, for the practical part, how do we actually do this? How do we go from feeling overwhelmed to creating a clear, respectful framework in our relationship? Step 1, cultivate self-awareness. Before you can communicate a boundary, you have to know what you need. Take some time to reflect. What makes you drained or resentful? What makes you feel safe and respected? Where do you feel like you're giving too much of your time or energy? What past experiences might be influencing your needs today? As we know, journaling can be a powerful tool for this. Hopefully you've been doing it. Just take 10 minutes a day. It can help you uncover these unspoken needs. Now, if you notice, we're starting with self-love. This is the reason this podcast is designed the way it is. We take Wednesday to work on ourselves, and then Sunday we implement what we learned with our partner. See, you didn't recognize. There's a method to this madness. Step 2, communicate with I statements. This is the most critical step. When you're ready to talk to your partner, choose a calm moment. Don't bring it up in the middle of a conflict. And then use I statements to express your needs without blaming your partner. It's a subtle but powerful shift. Instead of, you always interrupt me when I'm on the phone with my mom, which is blame, try, I feel frustrated when I'm on the phone and I feel like I'm being interrupted. I need to finish my conversation without distractions. That's expressing your need. Instead of, you're always glued to your phone and it makes me feel neglected. That's the blaming. I feel disconnected when we're together and we're both on our phones. I'd love to set aside some time each evening for us to be fully present with each other. That's expressing your need and a solution. Step 3, listen and validate. A conversation about boundaries is a two-way street. After you've expressed your needs, it's your turn to listen. Your partner may have boundaries they need to set with you too. Listen with the intent to understand, not to defend. Validate their feelings. You can say things like, I hear you. That makes sense. Thank you for sharing that with me. Remember, their boundaries aren't an attack on you. They're simply statements of their needs. Step 4, create mutual agreements and be consistent. Boundaries work best when they're agreed upon mutually. Discuss and create these agreements that work for both of you. Here's an example. I need a half hour long time to decompress after work before we talk about our day. Can we agree that I'll let you know when I'm ready to connect? Another example. I love that you're so close with your family, but I'm not comfortable with them dropping by unannounced. Could we agree to always call each other before visiting? Once an agreement is made, the final, most challenging step is to be consistent. This is where the true work of respect happens. If you set a boundary, you must uphold it, even if it feels uncomfortable at first. Consistency teaches your partner that you mean what you say and that your needs are non-negotiable for your well-being. So let me take a moment to address a question that was relating to this topic that I received. It says, my husband and I, we've been married for 15 years. We've always just kind of done everything together. Lately, I feel a strong desire to take up painting as a hobby. But he seems to feel left out or even a little offended when I want to go to a class or spend an evening in the studio by myself. How can I explain that this isn't about leaving him out, but about doing something for me? Well, here's my advice for you. And you'll see how we talked about this. Reassure him. Start by lovingly reassuring your husband that this is not about a lack of love for him or a desire to be away from him. It's about a need for creative expression and self-care. Use an I statement. I love our time together, and this desire to paint is a way for me to feel more fulfilled and whole, which in turn makes me a better partner to you. Invite him into the process, but not in the space. Share your excitement. Show him your paintings. Tell him about your classes. This makes him feel like he's still a part of your life and your joy without him having to be physically present in the activity. How about proposing a trade? Suggest that while you're at a painting class, he could do something he loves, like watching a movie he's wanted to see, spend time with his friends. You could even schedule a special date night or activity to do something right after so he knows your connection time is still a priority. By the way, date night, crucial to your relationship. Make sure it has a place in your schedule. Bottom line, it's about showing your partner that your desire for individual space is not a rejection of them, but a celebration of your whole self, which you bring back to the marriage even more fully. Respecting each other's boundaries is not a one-time conversation. It's a continuous evolving process of communication, trust, and mutual respect. It's about creating a dynamic where two people can stand side by side, each whole in their own right, choosing to support and uplift one another every single day. A masterful marriage is a dance of two people who know when to move together and when to give each other room to spin on their own. It's a space where you can be fully yourself, knowing that your needs are not just heard, but honored. Folks, I hope this episode has given you some food for thought and the courage to begin those important conversations. Remember, love is not about control. It's about freedom. And freedom is what allows love to truly flourish. We'll be back next week for another Marriage Builder Sunday episode. Until then, keep building, keep loving, and keep mastering your marriage one intentional step at a time. And for more exclusive training, deeper dives, behind-the-scenes content, our books, video series, and the Simplified Uplifters Apparel Store, which is our clothing store, make sure you download the Simplified You app today. It's your one-stop shop for all of our resources. It's located inside of Google Play or the Apple Store. And again, it can be found as Simplified You. The U stands for Uplifter, so it is Simplified You. It's the letter U. Or you can use the website, simplifieduplifters.net, which is a duplication of the app. Again, that's simplifieduplifters.net. If you found value in today's episode, we would also appreciate you sharing this episode and the podcast itself with those that you know need to hear this message. And if you haven't already, subscribe to Marriage Mastery Uplifters podcast so you don't miss our upcoming Self-Love Wednesday. where we'll explore individual areas to strengthen your journey to self love. Thanks again for joining me on this Transformative Marriage Builder Sunday. Until next time, nurture your soul, protect your energy, be kind to yourself, and build the marriage of your dreams. Most important, remember your power. You are extraordinary.